Hey yo, this is Nick W. Today I just want to make a quick rant video on the glaring problems that I see with All Elite Wrestling, also known as AEW. Um, but it's just funny to sit back and watch over the past year how the YouTube and the internet and anyone with a blog, uh, they're just going gaga over the fact that there's going to be an alternative TV wrestling to the WWE finally after almost 20 years since WCW went out of business. Um, and it's backed by Tony Khan, who's a billionaire, so things are getting real. Uh, but here's the thing: every time that I watch NXT every Wednesday or whenever I catch it, the problems that I see that are going on with AEW become extremely apparent. They've had three pay-per-views with the roster that's going to be AEW. They had the Double or Nothing, which is not a bad pay-per-view, but had a lot of problems. Then they had Fighter Fest and Fight for the Fallen. And I have to admit that I'm worried. And it doesn't seem like anyone else on the internet is worried. Kinda a little bit with Wrestling with Regret. He's kinda touching the outskirts of the problems when he's going over the reviews of the pay-per-views, which is relieving because I can't stand that everybody's just like, oh my god, it's the greatest. What are you talking? I'm like, dude, like, hold up. Like, they're claiming to have to be a sports centric, stat centric federation, which has never really been done, where wins and losses matter, moves matter, they count as points and this and that, and there's gonna be a ranking system, which is cool as hell. But the way they're promoting their pay per views and their talent, I don't see how they're gonna come in anywhere close. It's pretty much when I watch it, when it's not Cody Rhodes, um, or Kenny Omega or Chris Jericho, it really seems like, and there are a few matches here and there, uh, about 20% of the matches, when it's not those guys, it seems to be on the level of WCW circa 2000 and 2001. Um, Pretty much just a joke. Uh, Bad wrestling, stupid parodies, jokes. Like, it, I I don't know what to say. Like, I guess some of these young people weren't alive back then. They're all over AEW, but I'm worried because they're being run by people that lived through that and know exactly that is not what you're supposed to do. And then when TNA was dying in the mid 2000s, it went big. It was all wrestling centric. It had some serious things going on. Everyone took it seriously, and then suddenly it became storylines about pregnancies and illegitimate sons and just weird stuff and old broken down legends coming back and main eventing. Like, everything WCW did wrong, TNA did wrong, and it seems like AEW is on that course. The only thing is that the legends that they're bringing in can still go, like Jericho. But here's the thing: they want to be different than WWE. Well, if you want to be different than WWE, you don't want to have 15 false finishes off of 15 super moves every single match. And you don't want your matches to go 30 to 40 minutes all the way through a show. You don't want all of your shows to be 5 or 6 hours long. It just, it's not WrestleMania, man. You know what I mean? It's a new show with new talent that, to be honest with you, don't feel very comfortable in the ring together half the time. There's botches galore. Nobody mentions this. You know what I mean? And the crowd is into these people that I've never heard of, and a lot of people at home have never heard of. Um, Been to a few independent shows, and I've happened to catch a few of the wrestlers they've signed, But even at the wrestling shows, I was like, but there's something to be said about a company, a wrestling company, that puts on a 4 hour show and only 5,000 people know the in joke for all the chants and all the hoopla in the crowd. You know what I mean? So I'm watching their pay-per-views and I see the crowd doing all these chants and these cheers for these specific wrestlers that no one's heard of. And these specific wrestlers aren't anything special. I mean, the gimmicks are so over the top. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. Jim Cornette, I hate to say it, but Jim Cornette is the only person I know that's actually calling them out on how ridiculous their product looks and is looking like it's going to become. For a federation to say that we're going to be all sports and we're going to have sports centric, we're going to have rankings, it's going to be serious. We'll have our fun gimmicks, but it's going to be serious for the most part, and that those titles are going to mean something. And this is going to be a sports heavy, legit company. I mean, they got almost every pay per view. It's just it's gimmick matches. It's Orange it's Orange Cassidy. You know what I mean? They just signed Orange Cassidy, and yeah, it was a cool gimmick when I saw him in Crown Point. I was like, okay, this dude keeps his hands in his pockets the whole time, and he manages to get things done, and it's a little bit of a gimmick, but like a comedy gimmick. But the fact that he did that on their opening pay per view, where he just slaps and slaps and kicks, he doesn't want to wrestle. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's a niche audience for that kind of comedy, and that's not what they're promoting. But they just signed a comedy guy like it's the end all be all, and I'm like, dude. And then the Young Bucks, I made my first video was about the Young Bucks and the super kick parties and how nobody seems to sell anymore. Super move kick out, super move kick out, super kick out. Like, it's like it's ridiculous, and I can't believe the people, it's a loud majority, or sorry, it's a loud minority of wrestling fans on Twitter and wherever else that are like, Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, the greatest thing ever, AEW. I'm like, dude, look at their pay-per-view. It looks like an independent show that with overpaid superstars opening up, jerking the curtain for Cody Rhodes, who I like and I think can actually go. But do I really want to see Kenny Omega in 30-minute matches with 30 false finishes and 20 finishers every single pay-per-view or show? No. That's what WWE has been doing with John Cena for the past 15 years. And Triple H, these false finishes, these overlong matches with high spot pin kick out times 50, where signatures don't matter and finishers just don't matter anymore. And I don't know who the hell these people, Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes, are listening to, but they should be listening to Jim Cornette, because Jim Cornette, like it or not, he knows what he's talking about. And if you're a wrestling fan and you have watched the 3 pay-per-views that AEW has put out, you have to somewhat agree that the production value is fine, but the wrestling, okay, the wrestling and the characters and the chemistry in the ring is pretty shoddy. I mean, it looks, some people are going half speed, some people are going full speed, some people don't know what the hell they're doing, some people are getting knocked out, don't know what corner to tag into. You got Kenny Omega doing 40-minute, 30-minute matches with 20 false finishes and 20 finishers. I'm praying to God that Jericho and Ambrose, and then with Ambrose or Moxley, he had a Joey Janela. He had a hardcore match with Joey Janela. I don't know what the hell that was. That was pardon my language, that was a shit show. Not only do we not ask for hardcore matches, but hardcore matches with cardboard tables covered in barbed wire. And like I say, a 30-minute match, like, who the hell asked for that? I didn't ask for that. When AEW said that they were coming out with an alternative product, I did not expect Johnny Moxley to go against Joey Janela in a hardcore match with cardboard tables that uh, literally are cardboard. It was weird. Like, the whole thing is weird. The commentary is weird. Without Jim Ross, the commentary would be nothing more than the dying days of WCW. I just don't understand why no one that has a platform on YouTube just doesn't have a thumbnail that says AEW is in a lot of trouble if this is the garbage that they're going to spit out. What they're doing with legless men, as Jim Cornette likes to say, pockets. Orange Cassidy with his hands in his pockets, making a mockery of the sport of wrestling. You got the lubrication man and the transgender guy. Like, is that really what they're gonna do with $1 billion? They're gonna give us a sideshow circus event? That's what I'm asking myself. I asked my wife. I'm like, what do you think? I'm kind of nervous. I watch NXT and they take themselves damn seriously. It's a quick 1.5 hour, 2 hour pay-per-view with things getting done, good wrestling being done. So we're not even talking I'm not even thinking WWE anymore. I think they're competing against NXT. They got a lot to prove to me and to the world that they can compete with NXT. NXT, at least, for the credit of Triple H, as much garbage is dumped on him by the fans, NXT is finishing matches with things that are not finishers. And that's something I've been asking forever, is give me matches with roll-ups and surprise submissions and just surprise 3 falls with the alternative move to their signature finisher. I mean, I thought that's what AEW was going to promise, but AEW is looking pretty sloppy. And the hype around it is like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. I don't buy it. I think a lot of honest wrestling fans out there don't buy it either. And I think it's right to have a critical eye on their future. I'm going to give it through the end of the year. It starts in October on TNT. I'm going to give it through January. And if it's still a freak show, you know what I mean, with a bunch of gimmicks and librarians running around shushing people when it should be actually wrestling, and the Young Bucks doing super kick parties every damn week, not selling a damn thing, then we got problems, you know? We got problems in AEW. And I just won't watch it, and I'll stick with my NXT and WWE, because it seems to be getting better and better, finally. So, anyway, I hope when someone sees this thumbnail, they at least like the video for me having the balls to say AEW looks like shit, okay? And their trajectory for the future looks pretty low. And I guess that's the bottom line. Anyway, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. This is Nick W. Peace out.